What's going on, everybody? My name is Anthony Sabatino, the host of the Anthony Sabatino Show. I'm really excited. We have a very interesting guest on this week. His name is Colin, and Colin is a very interesting entrepreneur with a lot of amazing insights on a lot of innovative type of industry right now that I think a lot of people can get a lot of value from. So to start us off, Colin, I just want to welcome you to the show.
Hey, thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate it, and can't wait to dive in here.
Absolutely. So just to start off the show, just so people can get some good context here, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about, your backstory in a nutshell. You don't have to go too deep, and then we'll get into maybe some other details.
Sure. Yeah. Originally I was born in New Jersey. I went to the University of Arizona. So that was like my first big leap in my life. Everyone from my hometown kind of just stuck around the Jersey, Pennsylvania schools. And I just knew from a young age, I wanted to get out there and see the world. So I went as far as possible. I went to the other side of the country, attended the University of Arizona. Had really no idea what I wanted to do in life yet. I knew I just wanted to have fun and travel, which I did. And then it got to the point where, it was time to, look for a major. So I knew business was how I would make money. So I applied to my business school. I got denied the first time. But my dad kept pushing me, said, you can do it. I applied again, got in the second time. I managed, my major was business management. And, I graduated in 2018 with a management degree from the Eller School of Business. And then I took my first job I could get my hands on, which was selling payroll at ADP. I don't know if anyone knows that listening in. It's like a payroll company. They do 401k payroll plans for, companies. It's a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 company, actually. So I joined that because I wanted to learn sales, because I knew sales is how you make the most money. And I quit within 11 months because I absolutely hated working for someone. Long story short, I went all in on my personal brand. I did some personal development while I was working at that job. Then one day I just woke up, quit, and went all in on Instagram. I knew that if I could learn, sales skills from a Fortune 100 company, and then basically transition those sales skills into selling my own products and services online, with my clientele being pretty much unlimited with the reach of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff, I'd be able to make a lot of money and live the life of my dreams. It's been over 2.5 years now. I've started multiple companies, an 8-figure business, in e-commerce. So we do drop shipping, and we do FBA, which is, fulfilled by Amazon, which is a warehouse model. And then I also own a company called Leverage Lifestyle, and we have 900 students in there right now. We teach how to grow your personal brand, how to leverage credit, how to travel using credit card points, how to save in Bitcoin, and how to acquire passive income so you too can live your own leverage lifestyle. And then most recently, I started a Bitcoin mining company. That's all in the works right now. We're going to be developing some press releases here soon. And that's pretty much it. Live in Miami, Florida. I'm 25 years old, and yeah.
Loving it, dude. That's amazing. Well, obviously, I knew of you for a little while back, so I'm excited we had to got the opportunity to talk today. So I think number one, obviously, the credentials that you just spoke about, and your journey of getting there is obviously amazing, right? And then we look at where you kind of got your big start. At least from my opinion, the first thing that I saw you really doing was understanding how to leverage credit, points, travel hacking, things of that nature. If you want to give some insight maybe on how you got into that early on, because that was a space that I really found a lot of interest in, and I kind of delved into a little bit as well, maybe not to the extent that you did, but certainly enough to where I realized the potential in it. Sure. Did you get any, how did you kind of get started in that?
Yeah. So through credit, it's actually a crazy story. All the things in my life that were so negative, at first turned into the most positive things. Whereas I made my first business investment when I was working at my job. I wanted to quick start everything. I wanted to just be rich all of a sudden. I didn't even want to put in the work. I wanted the passive income. I wanted to travel the world. So I tried to take a shortcut. I invested with some people that I did not do my due diligence on. I got scammed $20,000 on a personal loan. And it was attached to no asset. I didn't even get the asset I was promised. And, I was quickly, left in the dust. So my credit took a dip from that. It went from like a 720 all the way down to like a 660 because I defaulted on that loan. I couldn't pay it. I stopped paying the interest payments, the principal payments, the whole thing defaulted. So then, I was really in a bad spot. I was $50,000 in debt. I'm 23 years old. I'm working at a job I hate. And now I'm like forced to look into credit because I'm like, damn, what the hell is this? Is there a way to fix this now that I've screwed myself over? So, I ran into a bunch of YouTube videos, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, learned about the different credit bureaus, learned that if, a bureau cannot prove it, that it's your file, then they must remove it. So I sent in a bunch of disputes. I worked with a few repair companies, did a bunch of networking. Eventually, through some resources, I was able to get that collection removed off of my file. My score jumped up to like a 740 again. And then I learned sequencing. So applying for multiple cards in a day, putting the right numbers on the application so you get approved for the most limits. And I was able to obtain like $75,000 in capital through personal and business cards in a day. And that was when I was 50 grand in debt. So now I'm positive 25K of capital, even though it's still debt. If you use the debt in the correct ways, you're going to be able to leverage yourself out of bad situations, which I did. So immediately started teaching people how I did that. One, how I removed that negative item. I partnered with a credit repair company and I started making a lot more money educating people on credit repair and then sending them to this partner, and then I would get paid commission. So that was one piece of knowledge that I learned how to monetize. The other was the actual structure of building credit. So, I'm teaching people on YouTube videos and on IGTVs multiple times a week, how to actually build your credit file in the correct way so you could get this capital, these cards that give you points, all that good stuff. I did that for 3 months, dude. I just literally just gave value. I had no idea that I should monetize it. I just really was passionate about it. It worked for me. So I just started talking about it because I understood personal branding, and you got to have something to talk about. You got to have free value to share. After about 3 months of doing that consistently, from the months of like September, October, November of 2019, Black Friday was right around the corner. I had been learning about, how all this money's made on e-commerce. I already tried e-commerce like 2 times and failed. So I knew that this would be the perfect time to try my own product. So I was like, why don't I just make a course and, I'll just promote it on Instagram. I already have all these people watching me for credit. So I sat down one day, I created a Instagram page called Credit Class. I was really surprised that name wasn't taken because it just seemed so fitting for, teaching credit. And yeah, man, I built that page up with all my information. I made it private, and then I promoted all of the info through my stories on my personal page while I was blocking out the actual answers of how to do this stuff. So it was like, waive your annual fee. Like, this is how. And then I would like basically, blur out the section that gave the answer on how to take action on it. And I said, hey, you get all this information. All you got to do is pay me $250 and I'll give you access to my page. We'll have a Telegram chat. I'll teach you guys all these methods and walk you through it. We'll do a live call once a week. And within one day, I had 26 people sign up. I made like over $6,000. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm going to focus on. Screw all the other stuff. I was at the time trying real estate, ATMs. I started a clothing company. All these things were just wastes of time, but I had to try all these different things out. So from that point on, 90% of my focus was on credit. And then 10% of it was on growing people's Instagrams. And that's when I started making over like $10,000 a month. I quit my job in August. And then 6 months later from doing all this shit, I quit. I left my apartment lease in Scottsdale, Arizona in December. And then I moved to Bali in January of 2020. And I started, walking the talk, preaching how to do these things and actually doing these things as I was talking about it, flying first class to Bali, getting villas, going all in on marketing. And from there, man, everything just took off. And, that was 2.5 years ago.
So interesting. And I've definitely seen, I remember, I think that was when I first started following you, was when you were in Bali. And I remember that was kind of one of the things that really caught my eye, was because you were, walking the walk basically, right? Like what you were talking about, you were doing it. Now I think what's really caught my eye to you. And so to your point, a lot of this kind of stemmed, from your personal brand, right? And your idea of how you can brand yourself to get people to even pay attention, to then have something valuable to sell and help people with and make an impact too. Any tips or tricks? And obviously, a plethora of information in terms of tips or tricks, but anything, right off the top of your head, personal branding wise, that might be able to help? Because we have a very entrepreneurial audience here. So I'm sure a lot of people get some value out of that.
Yeah, sure. I really think it's all about focusing on one thing and doing reels to grow your audience organically and actually get reach to customers, potential customers. So, let's say your topic's real estate, niche down as much as you can on real estate. So like if you're really good at the Burr method, only focus on the Burr method. Make videos in depth on the Burr method. Write down on a piece of paper 100 ideas on what you could do for a 30-second to a minute reel. And then you're going to film all that content and every day post a reel for however long it takes until you blow up. Reels are definitely the easiest way to blow up right now on Instagram, TikTok, of course. It's basically the same thing, those short format videos. YouTube even has YouTube shorts. That has helped me immensely grow my following on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, it's all about just putting in the work, staying consistent, not getting depressed when you're not seeing the results in like the time that you wish to see the results. It's always going to take like 2 times longer than you think it is. So yeah, become an expert first at something. Like knowledge is the most important thing. If you don't know your shit, someone else out there is going to know more than you and be making better content, and they're going to get all the followers and all the attention and all the money. So you really got to be good at what you do before you hop on the gram and start promoting it. My story was a little different. The way I did it is I wasn't good at anything yet, but I listened to Gary Vee's book, Crush It. And he said, if you don't have a story to tell, like if you don't have a skill, document your journey is what he said.
Yeah.
So like I literally made my personal brand about my journey of becoming an entrepreneur. And that's always what it's been about. And still today, that's exactly what it is. I mean, I document everything every single day, 20 stories a day of my life. So yeah, man, I just went all in and I used that to my advantage, that I didn't know shit, that I was completely open. I was raw. I was vulnerable, and people latch onto that stuff. They latch onto emotion. So you want to tie an emotion to your brand, and you want to go deep on your insecurities. And that is really how you're going to connect with people, man, because there's so much fake shit out there. I mean, everyone's got a Lambo today. Everyone's got nice watches. Everyone lives in nice places. Everyone's traveling on first class. Anyone can do that shit. It's not that hard. So what you have to do now is the opposite. You got to do what those people won't do, which is go deep on your insecurities. And that's how you're going to really grow a brand that's trustworthy and that's committed to you.
I'm so happy you just said that, because that's one of the premises that I push so much, even in my content, where if you look at what social media has done over the past, let's say 8 to 10 years, it's been so heavy and over indexing on like the PRing yourself type of content, with the Lamborghinis, with the watches, with the travel, everything like that. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's been that long span of time where that became the norm. So now people are kind of said and done with, it's kind of diluted. So the thing that's really like you said, people are really latching on to the idea of raw, of authentic, of something that's behind the scenes that people aren't seeing, that feels like they're not getting sold something, And I think the more that, to your point too, just to expand on it, I think the idea of, understanding how to document something, it actually, not only is it like good if you're not good at something yet, but it's also really good in terms of consistency, in my opinion, to create content. Because when you're trying to create and manufacture, you're going to overthink it. You're going to hit false spots. You're going to hit writer's block, whatever. But when you're documenting it, you're simply documenting it. Like I think that's a really important fact for people who are just creating content, to understand that when you're documenting, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway. So you might as well just document it.
100%, man.
Cool, man. So let's pivot a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about leverage lifestyle, because that's another something that I was following and I saw about, and something that's semi-recent, in the grand scheme of your entrepreneurial journey. Talk to us a little bit about what that's about.
Yeah. So credit class, I grew to like 350 members. I was having a blast with it. But I also started to venture into, more things, along my journey, such as Bitcoin, such as passive income streams. E-commerce is an industry I got into rather quickly. So there's all these other passions I had, and I was only focusing on credit, and I was kind of losing, my passion for it. So what I did is I basically just made a course on my life. It's called Leverage Lifestyle. It's all the things I've leveraged to create my dream lifestyle. So once again, it's your personal brand is always number one. So that's something I'm super passionate about, teaching and helping people create for themselves. Obviously credit, we basically just put credit class inside of Leverage Lifestyle. So that's like its own course. It goes over personal and business credit. Then we go travel, because travel will always be like number 2 on my list. I love traveling the world. So yeah, we teach you how to travel basically for free and get all the top status and stay in suites. And then number 4 is going to be passive income. So like while you're traveling, you want to have income set up that's passive. We go over real estate and e-commerce automation, which leads into my other business. So I have a lot of people in Leverage Lifestyle learn credit, learn personal branding, make a lot of money, and then jump into an e-commerce platform with us at Leverage Investments. And then finally, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been something that's absolutely changed my life. I started investing in Bitcoin in March of 2020 when we had the liquidity crisis, and I've never looked back since. I have like 90% of my net worth in Bitcoin. I actually just bought a whole Bitcoin about 2 hours ago too. I bought the dip. So yeah, man. So that is the course. It's a course on all 5 of those subjects. There's 900 people in it right now. It costs $11.97 for the course. And then also, if you want to get in the actual mastermind with our live calls every single Wednesday, we just bumped the price up. It's $4,997. And that's full lifetime access to all of our weekly mastermind calls. Last night we had Carlton Dennis on. He's got a YouTube of 250,000 subscribers. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the tax space that I know. Teaches you, how to actually pay little to mostly zero taxes, on your income, which is crazy. So yeah, we have people like that in Brad Lee, Robert Breedlove. We have Bitcoiners, Mark Moss, massive names in every industry are on our show. So it's an absolute blast. And then we have a Discord chat where everyone can hang out, ask questions, and learn things. So that's like honestly my much smaller business. And then we have Leverage Investments as well.
Got it. Well, so let's kind of dive in a little bit on Bitcoin, obviously. So I've had a few different people on that have been in the crypto space and just, talking about it, learning from them, hearing what they have to say about it. And obviously you might be one of the most adamant and, highly pursued in the Bitcoin space that at least I know, in terms of buying it, using it, understanding it, right? Not just the facade of what people hear, like actually understanding the back end of it. If you want to give maybe just like a nutshell approach to not just what everybody knows and maybe thinks they know, but maybe something that would shock some people in the Bitcoin world.
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people don't even know that there's a capped supply of 21 million Bitcoin. So it's not like something where, Ethereum, everyone thinks there's like, I don't know, like 100 million, or I don't even know what the supply is, but everyone kind of has an idea of like what the total supply is. It's all bullshit. It can all be manipulated, and they have founders in a ruling class that control supply of all these coins. XRP has founders, has a ruling class. It's basically a private company for profit, with individuals at the top that are making a shitload of money on you trading and buying XRP. Same with Ethereum, same with Solana, same with Cardano. Bitcoin, on the other hand, was created by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009, quickly after the housing collapse of 2008. And he created it to be uncontrollable by any one party. So he quickly disappeared in 2010 or 2011. He's been gone since. So he basically left it as an open protocol. Everyone can participate and no one can manipulate. It's hard coded at 21 million. So every single 4 years, the way Bitcoin is distributed is called mining. So there's Bitcoin miners. It's a global competition to mine Bitcoin. And when you mine Bitcoin, you're basically using power and energy. So you can get energy from whatever sources you want. The incentive is to get the cheapest energy possible, because if you get very cheap energy, you're not having much costs with actually mining the Bitcoin. If you have very expensive energy, by the time you get a block reward, which basically means you are mining and solving a hash problem. So like you're solving a very difficult math problem that takes a ton of computing power, which is called a miner that solves those problems for you. You can plug it in. Anyone can run the Bitcoin protocol, and it will basically mine for Bitcoin. If you win, so let's say your miner, one of your miners in your mining pool, solves the hash puzzle and wins and guesses the correct number, then you get the block reward. So every 4 years, the block reward is cut in half until there is no more Bitcoin left in 2130, which is in a long time from now. But So right now we're at 6.2 Bitcoin per block reward. So every time there's a block found, that miner or that mining pool gets the reward of 6.2. If you have a ton of miners in your pool, it's distributed amongst everyone. So everyone gets a little bit of Bitcoin. You can use that Bitcoin to obviously store for the long run. And then also, if you need to, loan against it or sell some to pay your mining expenses. So we have this global race to mine as much Bitcoin as possible. Everyone can participate. And it's truly incredible. What's really cool is Bitcoin, every 4 years gets cut in half, the new supply. And a lot of people are finding out about, the scarcity aspect of 21 million. It's truly scarce. There'll never be more than that. So there's a lot of people understanding that and now holding Bitcoin for the long run and not selling it. So it's only a matter of time, and it's supply and demand. So every 4 years, now the next block reward will be like 3 Bitcoin or something around there. Then it'll be 1.5. And then 0.7, it goes all the way down until there's no more Bitcoin left. And that's really it, man. So it's truly incredible. It keeps getting more scarce and more scarce. And it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few nuggets in there that I don't think I even knew, and that's really interesting. So where do you I've asked this once before to someone who was very, very involved in Bitcoin and had a hedge fund through it. I was really interested in that conversation we had. And one of the things I asked him, which I'd love to get your take on, is do you really, with validity, see Bitcoin being able to use as an everyday currency like a dollar, or is it more like a gold or storage of value?
Yeah, I believe that energy and everything in the world is going to eventually be priced in Bitcoin, just because fiat has been destroying the world. I mean, since 9/11, we've just been in a slow decline and collapse of the entire world. I mean, right now, today, unfortunately, Russia is invading Ukraine. There's a full-on war. This is the first time there's been a mobilized military in pursuit attacking another country since World War II. They have missiles, they have rockets, they have literally defense planes and choppers literally killing innocent people as we speak. And that's going to continue to go on, unfortunately. You see Canada, for example, their central, bankers are basically issuing statements out to exchanges, telling exchanges not to promote self-custody of people's cryptos and Bitcoin. They're basically saying, leave the Bitcoin and crypto on our exchange. It's safe, which it's not. It's all a lie. And these central authorities have control over these exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken. I mean, they're all just slaves to the system, basically. They're all just participating, making a buck and making it so that we can buy Bitcoin and crypto. But they can also get shut down and they can lock up everything as fast as they need to. And they can't hold back. They have to listen to the central authorities. So my big thing is Bitcoin's the only thing that's unconfiscatable. You can buy Bitcoin, you can store your wealth in Bitcoin, you can put it in a offline wallet. Like, for example, this is a cold card, there's ledgers, there's Trezors, and these are wallets that are not connected to the internet. So all this is code, it's math. You're basically storing your private key on one of these devices, which is just a chain of numbers, and we decipher it into words. So on this one, there's 24 words. That's your password. If you memorize that, dude, you don't even need this thing. You could throw this shit in the ocean. You can hop on a plane and go to Europe, or you can go to a private island and you could buy one of these again, or just go on the computer and type in your private key. Boom. All your wealth is restored. All your wealth is there. Untouchable, unconfiscatable. So yeah, especially with this time of uncertainty, now is the time to take control of all your wealth. Stop making bets on the banks that they're going to store your money, because one day, just like in Ukraine and just like in Canada right now, people are going to run to the banks and try to get their money out. And the banks are going to have a bank holiday, which basically means they're going to shut down the banks and you're not going to access your funds, and they will confiscate everything. And when they open back up, there's going to be a little change. Instead of your money being money, it's going to be CBDCs, which is centralized digital currency. Central bank digital currency. So they will be able to monitor and track every single transaction you make from here on out once that transition is made. So the idea is, before Bitcoin goes hyperbolic, while it's super volatile and it's in its infancy stages right now, it's only 12 years old. This shit takes a lot of time. It's going to be very volatile. It's misunderstood by so many people. if you grasp your understanding of it and start buying it right now and storing it in one of these ledgers or these offline wallets, or, if you don't trust yourself, like myself, you could use a company like Unchained Capital. They do distributed geographical multi-signature. So you'll have a private key, they'll have a private key, and a third party will have a private key. You need all single private keys at once to sign off on a transaction to move your Bitcoin. So they can't steal your shit, you can't steal your shit, and the other party can't steal your shit unless you all agree on it. So that's super powerful. Highly recommend that. And yeah, man, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, there's just no way to unravel this fiat Ponzi scheme that we've been living in since 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. So my, proposition to everyone listening is do what you love every day, make money doing it, and store as much money and value. It's basically monetizable energy. You are being rewarded off of your energy output that you put into the world. If you're producing a ton of value, you will be rewarded more monetarily, and you need to store that in something. Originally, and right now, 90% of the world stores their monetary energy in fiat currency that has no bottom. There is an infinite supply of fiat currency. It's not your money by any means. It's fully controllable by the state. So what you need to do is you need to convert that into something that you can hold and you can have secure, that cannot be tampered with, that has a true total supply that is actually scarce hard money. And once you do that, you can have all the power in the world for yourself, your family, and everyone you love.
So interesting. And to your point, when you said it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better, I think a lot of people hear that, right? And they think like, what the fuck do I do? Like what comes next and I think what you're kind of laying out there is a good game plan. If you can truly wrap your head around this. I think a lot of people's default is to say, oh, I have no idea, throw their hands up in the air and lean into the confusion and lack of clarity, and then don't do anything about it, And I think that's probably what the masses are playing on, right? Like, crazy though. I mean, thank you. Number one, thank you. That's a really informative answer. It's something that I did not know. So that's really cool. Let me take a quick left field approach here. So in terms of Bitcoin, and a lot of people, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's any validity to it, but for whatever reason, they always throw Bitcoin into the same conversation with Ethereum, just because like they're the two big heads, and obviously they're completely different to all your points. Do you see any real, I hate using the word validity 1,000 times, but do you see any real, usage in terms of the NFT movement right now using Ethereum, things like that?
Yeah, it's just so early to tell, especially with all the uncertainty. I don't know how it's going to be regulated. I don't want to take any bets on it. I'm taking a bet on the only true thing I've ever found in my life. Everything else is so skewed and incentivized to be as close to the money printer as possible. All these people are basically making their decisions based off of, how can I get more of this fiat money? All of our decisions are skewed, and basically the world is manipulated by this false money that we have. So for me to take bets on anything else just doesn't make sense. I think this is the most asymmetrical bet of our entire lifetime in human history, actually. First came fire, then came Bitcoin, right? I mean, this is actually a discovery that's perfect. It's math that cannot be tampered with, and math is always true. So yeah, I mean, NFTs, I think they could have some value, what the Nelk boys are doing with like their ticket, their ticket holders or whatever. You basically sell like 10,000 of them. They're scarce. They don't make more. And then, their ticket holders get incentivized by having private events and, different giveaways. And then those ticket holders can trade their tickets for a higher price to someone else who wants one. And then the Nelk boys are basically earning residual income off that. So I think that's very cool. I think NFTs are going to be great for, artists that are relying on a central power, basically like managers or a talent agency. If you hold your own NFT, you make all the rules. It's your, contract, it's your property. So yeah, I think it has a lot of value, but no, like right now I'm not trading, Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or, crypto punks. I've known about this shit before everyone knew about it. I mean, I was looking at crypto punks when they were, a couple Ethereum, and yeah, good investment if you want to trade it. But Do I think that that's more important or worth my time or energy over Bitcoin? Not a chance. I mean, yeah, like look at Solana, right? It went up thousands of percents and now it's basically back to where it started like 4 months ago. So that's
Yeah.
all trading. I don't know. I don't trade. I don't know how to trade. I'm not going to take the risk to trade. I'm going to focus on what I'm good at, which is my businesses, and then basically saving all that monetary energy inside of the scarcest asset in the world, which is Bitcoin.
Love it. And just to expand on one of your points that you said a little bit earlier that I think is important to double down on right here, because you just said that, is to, if you're going to do this, using, your monetary energy and then putting it in a place like Bitcoin as basically a savings account, right? Like I know you mentioned that, like that's a really cool way to look at it. I think people can wrap their heads around a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Just use Bitcoin as your savings account instead of using a savings account that's going to earn you 0.001% interest every year. Put it in Bitcoin that's going to do 150% annualized year over year on average. So yeah, no one's ever lost money in Bitcoin holding it for 4 years. So if you really want to become a Bitcoiner and understand it, get in now and hold it for 4 years and go through the cycle, and you'll truly get a grasp of how it is.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, cool. Let's take a quick pivot here to a different situation here. So you mentioned it in the very beginning when you're talking about your backstory a little bit in terms of personal development. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's one of the things that most people, if done properly and really double down on their personal development, is one of the biggest catalysts to their overall success going forward. I can obviously be a spokesperson for that. That's something that I really focus on as much as humanly possible, whether it be learning from different people, like actually paying for mentors and coaching, or even just reading books and constantly, involving myself around good content. Anything that you found that has worked specifically for you in the personal development world that maybe someone could take away?
Yeah, I think a morning routine is like the most important thing. Starting and ending your day in like a good way, with momentum and peace and abundance. For me, I have a crazy morning routine ritual I've been doing since I quit my job or even before that. So I wake up and the first hour of my day minimum is spent by myself. No phones, no distractions. I do a gratitude list. I write down a power list of 5 things I got to take action on for the day. I write the 4 Agreements, which is a book that I've read that I live by. I write a love letter to money. So I'm always talking about money and how much I want to acquire and how much I love it and how much it helps people, and just building that relationship with it. I meditate for 10 minutes. I do Wim Hof breath work for about 10 minutes. And then I say out loud affirmations, and I go on like a morning walk and I listen to a podcast, get some sunlight right away. That just sets me up in a phenomenal state every single day. So when I do sit at my desk and I am aligned and everything is ready for the day, I'm operating with full clarity and purpose and, doing everything to the best of my ability. And then at the end of the day, I'll kind of sit with myself and like recap, did I live by my values today? What's one thing I could do better? What's one thing I did great? And kind of recap before you go to bed. And that's been profound for me. Also, I'm addicted to growing and learning. So I'm reading, a book a week usually. I read a lot, and I'm just constantly learning. I'm investing. I invested in a mastermind like 3 months ago that cost 50 grand. I'm just constantly buying mentorships, courses. I mean, even to this day, even though, I have an 8-figure business, I'm still investing, probably 30 grand a month minimum on self-improvement. So, and then my health as well. Like I do the same thing for health with supplements, with coaches, with personal trainer, with a chef. Everything is equal to my business. My business is not on a pedestal over everything else. It's health, love, happiness, and business as well. So those are all 4 things that are, evenly going up at the same time.
So any books that you're recommending right now that you're about?
Yeah, I just read The Slight Edge, which is a phenomenal book, especially for people that are just getting started. My dad is now tapping into personal development. So I sent him that book, and, just start slow, pick a book out, personal development book, and just read 10 pages a day. Don't try to fricking crush the whole book in a weekend unless you absolutely love it. Because when you force yourself to adopt something new, the likelihood of you actually creating it as a habit is very slim to none. Too many people make the mistake of trying to go all in. Start very slow, baby steps, and just keep getting bigger and bigger.
That's great. And I don't know if you can talk about this. Let me know if you can't. I know in your stories, you said you were actually writing a book.
Yeah, I am writing a book. So it's a memoir slash a personal development book. So it's gonna be my whole life story with all the lessons I've learned along the way and how you can implement these lessons into your life as well. Yeah, it's like a 10-month process. I've paid a lot of money with a really good publishing company, the same people that wrote David Goggins' book. So yeah, that's coming out. That'll be out in December.
Awesome, dude. That's amazing. So if you want, just as we kind of like slowly wrap up here, do you have any just general pieces of advice on a business lens, particularly? Like if you're working on building your business, anything that comes to mind right off the top of your head that you're saying like, this is what really worked for me. I wish everybody could just have this.
Yeah. I would definitely say, do what you love every day, do what, fires you up, and don't get into a business just for money. It's really nice when you pick an industry that you love that does make you a lot of money, because I do believe that more money is going to allow you to accomplish more of your goals. You do need money. Money is an amazing tool to get the things done that you need to do, and you can grow faster and, double your rate of failure faster with more money. And when you double your rate of failure, you're going to have more success because you're going to learn more lessons. So yeah, I would just say, stick to what you love, and it's a slow grind, baby steps, one step at a time. Don't go too hard at once. Micro speed, macro patience. What Gary Vee says, I think that's very true. And success loves speed. So like the micro, you need to be doing these little things every single day. And, the Slight Edge talks about these little things eventually compound, and your life starts to go like this. You hit that edge, and then it kind of hockey sticks up. And that could take 5 years. That could take 6 months, but it's going to happen if you keep doing these little things. Or if you're doing things that are detrimental to your health or your life or your business, like cheating, lying, doing drugs, not going to the gym, not eating properly, that line, unfortunately, is going to go down, and it's a much faster drop off than you going up. So yeah, you just really need to stack good habits every single day. And yeah, it's going to help you a lot.
I believe in that a lot. I mean, the double the speed of failure, the rate of failure, that is so true. And the idea of, you need money, which I agree with 100%. One of the things that I've learned from personal experience too is once I had a little bit of money to work with, I started realizing that every sale that happened from that point going forward, it wasn't difficult anymore. Like when you don't have money, it seems like everything needs to be forced and white knuckled, and you feel like you're almost subconsciously manipulating the process just because you need it so badly. But the second you build up a little bit of lump sum, you start realizing everything comes a lot more, just a little bit more flow, which is, I find in my own personal experience, but I think in general is a good piece of advice to run by. Cool, dude. Well, if you want, where can people, find you? Where can people learn more about you? Things like that.
Yeah. So you can just find me on all social media platforms at Colin Yurcisin. My website is leveragedlifestyle.com. And you can find my course on there, my e-commerce company, Leverage Investments, and everything else I do. And shoot me a DM if you need anything.
Love it. And we'll put all that in the description on YouTube and on an end screen as well, so everybody can see that. And then obviously anybody who's listening to it, I hope they got that. Awesome, man. Colin, listen, I genuinely appreciate you spending the time today and providing some value to the audience. I know this is probably one of the most informative and wide expanded type of content for the podcast. So I genuinely appreciate your time, man. Appreciate it.
Dude, no problem, Anthony. I really appreciate you. Have a good one, man.
Awesome, man. See you later.
Took a shot in the dark to make my own lane. I think that I'm better go my own way, so I didn't. Now I'm on my own, yeah, I'm on my way. Keep my head up till I find my place, yeah, I'm on my way.